What's up, everyone? This is my Week 10 lineup for the Yahoo NFL Daily Fantasy Free Roll Contest. So the game I really like this week is Arizona at Tampa Bay. I expect this to be the highest scoring game of the week. We know Arizona has a very fast-paced offense. Tampa Bay has this explosive vertical passing game, and neither of these teams can stop the pass on defense. Both Arizona and Tampa Bay rank in the bottom 5 in pass dvoa this season. So I expect a lot of scoring, a lot of plays. Should be a great game to take advantage of. So starting off at quarterback, I like the reason I wanted to go with Kyler Murray over Jameis Winston is because of his passing and rushing upside. So Jameis Winston is more of a pocket passer, but Kyler Murray, we know he can definitely scramble and run as well. Um, in terms of his running upside, we saw, for example, against Cincinnati, he had 10 rushing attempts for 93 yards and a touchdown. And in terms of passing, he's capable of putting up 300 yards, 3 touchdowns as well. So this game against Tampa Bay could be the matchup where he puts everything together and has a fantastic week. And finally, Jameis Winston, we know he turns the ball over quite a bit. So the more he does that, the more scoring opportunities there are for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense. So speaking of the Cardinals offense, I'm going to stack Kyler Murray with David Johnson. So David Johnson is back from injury this week. He's been fully practicing. We know the Cardinals love using him as a wide receiver as well as a running back. He's capable of scoring touchdowns both on the ground and in the air. And at only $19 this week, this is probably the cheapest you'll be able to get David Johnson. Really like him a lot this week and a good matchup against Tampa Bay. And wrapping up the Cardinals stack, I like Christian Kirk quite a bit. So Christian Kirk is the number one wide receiver for the Cardinals at this point. He gets quite a bit of targets, seeing about a dozen targets every other game. And interesting enough, he has not scored a receiving touchdown yet this year. So I think he's bound to bounce back from that at some point. And I think against Tampa Bay, he should be in a good spot to have a strong game. And finally, in this game, I like Mike Evans on the other side. So we know this Tampa Bay passing offense revolves around Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and it seems like one or the other will have a monster game any given week. The question is, who is it going to be? So I noticed Mike Evans tends to go off against weaker pass defenses, for or the Tennessee Titans, or the New York Giants. Those are the matchups where Mike Evans has scored 30, 40 points. And I think this week against Arizona, they are definitely on the weaker side in terms of their pass defense. So I can see Mike Evans continuing to dominate and having a strong game. So moving on, I want to talk about Kansas City Chiefs at the Tennessee Titans and why I like Sammy Watkins a lot this week. So Sammy Watkins coming back from injury where it seems like he's getting healthier and healthier, seeing more and more targets in the past 3 weeks. We know Pat Mahomes is back from his injury this week and should play against the Titans. And in terms of just Sammy Watkins' upside, we've seen it in, for example, week 1, where he put up over 40 points, 3 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. So Sammy Watkins, very talented, explosive player. Seems like both him and Mahomes are healthy right now. And at only $18, I think he's a great value compared to the other Chiefs pass catchers like Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, who are quite a bit more expensive. So moving on, I want to talk about the Carolina Panthers at the Green Bay Packers game. So this is a game where both teams have a very strong running games, and they cannot stop the run on defense. This sets up really well for Christian McCaffrey, who has been the top scoring running back by far this season. I expect him to continue his dominance this week against Packers defense that can't stop the run. And I think he has been um, dealing with some sort of injury a bit. It's not clear if he's actually injured or if the Panthers are just trying to, moderate his workload so they can keep using him. But yeah, there's nothing to really indicate Christian McCaffrey slowing down. On the other side, I like Jamaal Williams quite a bit. So I mentioned Green Bay has very strong run offense. They're top 5 in DVOA there, while Carolina Panthers are bottom 5 in run DVOA on defense. So I think Jamaal Williams and both should have a good game this week against the Panthers. But Jamaal Williams, I think, is a much better value at only $17. They're both seeing about 50% of the snaps. And while Aaron Jones has been out-touching Jamaal Williams has not necessarily been underproducing Aaron Jones. And last week, for example, Jamaal Williams outscored Aaron Jones on fewer touches. Much cheaper than Aaron Jones, and also playing in a fantastic matchup against the Panthers. I really like Jamaal Williams this week. Moving on to tight end, I wanted to go Gerald Everett this week. So he's playing against Pittsburgh, which isn't necessarily a great matchup, but Gerald Everett has been seeing a lot of targets as of late. He's gotten 10, 11 targets in 2 of the past 4 games. He's capable of scoring touchdowns, and we know Brandon Cooks is going to miss time out with his concussion. So I can see the targets being there for Gerald Everett in this matchup, and I think he's capable of getting some yards and hopefully a touchdown. And at only $14, definitely on the cheaper side of tight ends, and I think he's capable of at least giving us something. And finally, at defense, went with the Indianapolis Colts. They are at home against Miami Dolphins team that is in full tank mode. The Dolphins have traded away everyone and anyone that's worth draft picks on their team, just stocking up for the future. They won their first game of the week, the first game of the season last week, and there was talk of going back to Josh Rosen, just to make sure they don't win too much and miss out on the next quarterback talent. So, overall, Miami, it seems like they've kind of given up on the season. And on the other hand, they're playing against a Colts team at home who are 5-3, definitely in the AFC playoff hunt, and should be motivated to play well to continue to be in the playoff race. So, yeah, I like the Colts a lot this week in a great spot against a Miami team that is not very good. So that pretty much wraps it up this week. Overall, these players cost $199. That's $1 below the $200 limit. Watching, and good luck to you guys, and take care.